Finally, an answer to the age-old question, which comes first, the chicken or the egg roll? Easy! Just eat whichever one's closest. The Sensation Salad and Filet Sandwich Meal are back at Zaxby's. Both feature our famous hand-breaded chicken, crispy wontons, Asian slaw, and citrus vinaigrette. And each comes with its very own egg roll for a limited time only at Zaxby's. Try them with fried pickles while supplies last.
From Tally to Cali.
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up, wake up. Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Zaxby's.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi
and Corey Clark.
Wake up! What's up, everybody? Before we begin today, just a quick note. If you have been listening to the show on Podbean over the years, appreciate it. It's awesome. Way to hang in the pocket. We will be phasing out Podbean as part of our distributors or whatever. I don't even know the proper word for all this stuff, Corey. But if you listen to us on Podbean, beginning on August 11th, you'll have to find something else. So if you have an iPhone, Apple device, use the Podcasts app. If you have a Android device like myself, use the Google Podcasts app. That's what I recommend. Otherwise, we're still available pretty much everywhere else under the sun, including YouTube. Hit the like button if you're listening to us on YouTube. Corey, how are you, man?
I'm good, buddy. How are you doing?
Good. Just had to let the people know. Just don't want somebody waking up on August 12th and, being like, where's my podcast? Where'd it go? Just got to let them know ahead of time, Just giving a heads up.
Yeah, man. Hey, you're doing a public service, so people appreciate that.
That's right. Today's episode will be Renegade Express. You folks get to express yourself, but we'd be remiss if we didn't mention that this show is, as always, proudly presented by Zaxby's, indescribably good. We got called out on the Tribal Council by somebody named Cridshun. I have to stand up and speak my mind at Corey, at Aslan, and say that you guys always leave out the undisputed best and also my favorite personal Zaxby's, the one in Bainbridge. Wake up. All right, that's cool. I've never been to the one in Bainbridge. I prefer the 9 locations that we discuss usually, but the one in Bainbridge, that's acceptable. It's still Zaxby's. I won't get mad at you.
Have you ever been to Bainbridge, period?
I don't. Do you drive through Bainbridge if you're driving through Havana?
Oh, I don't know, man. I do know I've been to Bainbridge. I covered a football game there, a playoff game. Maybe
What's
it was
their
a playoff
mascot?
game.
What's their mascot? The Bainbridge Tigers?
Ooh, I want to say the Bearcats.
Okay.
I could be wrong, but I probably am wrong, but I'm pretty sure it starts with a B. We love the alliteration with nicknames, especially for high school teams. I'm going to look that up right now. You continue with the show.
All right. I was going to try to do it for you. But, yeah, that's fine. You can go to that one. But we just like the ones around here in Tallahassee and then obviously Marietta, Douglas, and Thomasville. We got plenty to talk about before we even get to the Renegade Express. We have something also going on our YouTube page recently called Trending on the Tribal Council. More uplifting things. I still want to find a way to showcase the absolute madness on the Tribal Council without angering our valued subscribers on the Ultimate Seminole Sports Source, Warchant.com. Somebody called in on Monday or Tuesday, whenever we do the call-in show, and talked about what do we think about 10 wins since Marvin said he likes this team and thinks that 10 wins is possible. Somebody posted that on the Tribal Council that later that night, literally, hey, this is what he said on ESPN, thinks 10-plus win season. First response, if he likes it so much, he needs to go talk to his coach if he has a problem and not air the team's dirty laundry. He's lucky he's still a Knoll. If I were Norvell, I would have booted him for trying to incite a player mutiny. 50 replies later, it has been locked. So maybe that's what we need to do, behind the lock. Maybe we can talk about the crazy threads that get locked that you folks are missing out on. It's half the fun. The information obviously is the best thing, the camaraderie, the positive vibes, but also just the absolute sheer lunacy of it all. Really adds to the spirit of core, I think Ira would probably say.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. He loves saying that. Yeah. He learned that, I think, a couple weeks ago. It's just been sprinkling into every conversation. Obviously that's the part about him being lucky to be a Knoll. I certainly wouldn't go that far at all. But I had more than one rational, logical Florida State fan wonder why he did it, and not really all that. And I'm not going to relitigate this. They weren't really all that happy with the tact that Marvin Wilson took, and I think that's a understandable position. It's certainly a defendable position. So that in itself isn't necessarily like the start of a bad thread, but when you come out of the gates firing like that, first thread or first post. Yeah, it's gonna turn around and it's gonna get ugly quickly, because people are gonna defend their side, and then it's gonna be some vitriol back and forth, and then it gets kind of ugly. Yeah. And you're all Noles. At the end of the day, you're all rooting for the same thing.
I wonder, we have to have the most cannibalistic fan base. I feel like we love to prey on each other. It's quite crazy. We don't have the total incestuous nature of the SEC, but we have some things that we do that are pretty bizarre. I feel like. Yeah, it's great. There's all sorts of deleted parts of the thread. It's amazing. I like these things. But we'll focus on the good stuff. Did you figure out what Bainbridge's mascot is, by the way, Corey? We don't want to leave that behind.
They are the Bearcats, and they're the alma mater of one Kirby Smart.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. Wasn't his dad a coach there, a longtime coach?
He was, yeah. Yep. I don't know if he was a longtime coach, but he definitely was a coach there.
Right. Okay. All right. Very well. Good stuff.
I don't remember Bainbridge ever winning anything in high school football, but so I don't know if he's I don't know if he's a legendary coach. I'll look that up. You keep going. Now I feel bad because there's somebody that listens in Bainbridge, I'm sure, that's like, how dare you not know Coach Smart won all those games in the 80s?
Would you say, as a Georgian, is like the most prolific football program of the last 30 years, and then I don't know, maybe let's factor in what you would project the next 5 to 10 years look like? Is it a team from Metro Atlanta, or is it a team from Southwest Georgia?
No, it's Metro Atlanta. It's just the population, man. It's just a population boom. And the thing, we've talked about it before, but the thing about Georgia is they pay their coaches. Oh, yeah. They don't get these prorated salaries.
No stipends.
They make it stipends. Yeah, they make it appealing. Some of them are making $100,000 or close to it. I think that's when I covered high school football, and that was a long time ago. Oh, yeah. So it's the population boom in Gwinnett, in the Atlanta suburbs, and then they also get very good coaches because they make it appealing for good coaches. So yeah, it's a Gwinnett like Buford. Schools like that. Mill Creek's pretty good now. Grayson has been really good for a while. It's big schools like when I was covering high school football in Gwinnett County in the early 2000s, Grayson was just coming on. It was a new school, but you could tell, okay, people are moving out here. It is an enormous school. The cafeteria is a food court. It's gonna be a big time power, and that's exactly what happened. They became a big time power because I'm a prophet. I saw it coming.
Have they won rings? I know they crank out talent, but have they won rings? I
think they've won a couple state championships.
I know the Kimdichis are from there, and a couple other guys.
No, I'm gonna have to look that up.
We're never gonna get to anything Florida.
Go
State
ahead,
related.
you start the show.
Everyone's starting.
You start the show.
Okay, I will start the show. We've been going for about 9 minutes or so, but I'll start the show.
Well, start the show with Florida State stuff.
Right,
with the questions and whatnot.
All right, so first let's go in chronological order. Early on Thursday morning, Florida State got a commitment from a 3-star defensive end out of New Orleans, St. Augustine High School. You should check out their Wikipedia page after you're done with that, Corey, when you tag back in here.
Okay.
Lots of famous alumni. I think Kerry Kittles, Ben Jarvis Green Ellis, Leonard Fournette. I think the current editor-in-chief of the New York Times, Dean Baskett, apparently, according to Wikipedia. It's crazy. Anyhow, who cares about those people? There's a defensive end there, pass rushing guy, weak side defensive end. I think one of the top 20 weak side defensive ends in the country. Byron Turner committed to Florida State. So he's a 3-star, play your violin, do whatever you want to do. It looks like he did take an official visit to Baylor, or at least it's on the books on the Rivals.com recruiting profile for him on March 1st. So it looks like he did try to at least get his foot on one campus before the pandemic sort of swept everybody up. So that's a good thing, I think, though. At least so many times again, you put a gun to my head. I think stars do matter. I'm taking a 4-star over a 3-star 99 out of 100 times. I don't know. Actually, it's weird. I need to look at photos. I'm crazy, man. Not even the film. Just give me a photo. I can tell. Promise you. Saw it with James. No lie. Kidding. So Baylor wanted him. Dave Aranda, who obviously was the defensive coordinator at Wisconsin for a few seasons, then went to LSU, and I don't want to put them over the edge. They always had a pretty good defense at LSU, and they really weren't particularly that good last season. They just had a really great offense finally, and they always have dudes on their defense. But anyhow, that guy thought this kid was good enough, Byron Turner, to extend an offer and bring him on his campus. So Florida State able to secure his services, verbal commitment. I think we're kind of seeing, obviously, David Johnson paying dividends. That was a school that he coached at for a few years. I just can't imagine how difficult. And, Ira mentioned, I think we even talked about it, maybe an episode after that. Just being this staff, these circumstances, trying to recruit kids is one thing. But then to have them commit to you in the middle of July. What did they knock off a fantastic virtual visit? Was the Zoom off the charts? I'm not being critical at all. It's incredible to me that they're able to get a kid at a position of need who seems to have a pretty good offer sheet with a very good build. I think he's already 6'3", about 230 pounds. That's pretty darn good for a kid going to his senior season in high school. So that happened. That's a good thing.
For the classic rock fans, I think I got the perfect nickname for this kid. A little Byron Turner overdrive.
Okay. All right.
That's not bad, right?
No, not at all.
I doubt he's familiar with a lot of BTO's hits, but some people might think that's a good. I think most people will think that's a good nickname.
I like it.
Haven't seen nothing yet. Isn't that one of their big songs? Haven't seen nothing yet. Burn. So there we go, man. Byron Turner. Byron.
There we go.
It's perfect, man. It just works. So you're welcome, Byron. You're welcome. Well, hey, welcome to the family. Byron Turner overdrive. Grayson did win at least one state championship. Their Wikipedia is weird, but they won it in 2012. I feel like they've won one more recently than that. But either way, yeah, they're a state power now, and I called it. You're welcome.
I'm still saying call quit, man. Packers for life, son. Packers.
Well, yeah. But also, going back to, I don't know how that works. I don't know if, they knock out a virtual visit out of the park. If Norvell has a really funny, cool background on his Zoom call.
Right.
And that's I don't know what the deciding factors are when you can't go on campus. I'm sure it's the relationships. You can build relationships on Zoom to an extent, right? I mean, in text. I mean, that's how teenagers build relationships now.
Manti Te'o fell in love virtual,
He did. He sure did. What a heartbreak, too, for that kid. And then, I guess he really liked what he was hearing. He liked the relationships and the vibe he got. As much as you can get from a vibe or a text message. But I assume he's been to the school. And if not, you can take virtual tours online now. So he saw what he needed to see, buddy. Don't ask questions. Just know he's a Knoll.
That's the thing. I don't think he's been on campus. I think maybe Michael Langston made mention of it in the recruiting video that's on our YouTube channel. But again, I mean, just very good thing for Florida State to be able to get a guy, again, at a position of need. 6'3", 238 pounds, offers from Baylor, Florida, Mississippi State, A&M, also several other programs. I mean, Ole Miss, Texas, they're all in there. I think I'm trying to see his stats. That'd be nice if we have stats of these kids these days. 27 tackles for loss and 14 sacks.
Okay.
Last year. He had an injury-riddled sophomore campaign, apparently. 102 total tackles in his junior season. So also participates in the 4x100 relay team and threw the shot put 36 feet 2 inches, or 36 yards? Yeah, that's better. I think, right? Or that's 36 feet.
36 feet is only 12 yards. Is that like a...
36 yards.
36 yards is a lot, though, for a shot put.
I don't know. It's got 36 and then one hash next to it, like one tick, like an apostrophe.
Let me look up the shot put world record, and then we'll be able to adjust what our man threw in the shot put.
Yeah, so let's see here. During his injury-riddled sophomore campaign, he actually had the 27 tackles for loss and 14 sacks. He broke out this past season, junior year, 2019, with 102 total tackles, 29 for loss, 13 sacks, and 25, as always, crucial, never to be forgotten and overlooked quarterback hurries. So, prototypical 4-3 defensive end. Good for Florida State, man. A very sort of nice addition before we get into the weekend. And
so, yeah, I guess it is feet. The world record by a male shot putter is 23.12 meters which is 75 feet 10 inches. So he must be throwing 36 feet, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's got to be what it is. Hell, you're not even. He's halfway home. If he keeps working at it, he might break the world record.
You know, real quickly, when I was in Montana, I was covering this kid that was just like built like Adonis, like this, country strong dude in the middle of nowhere in Montana, which is obviously already in the middle of nowhere. But when I went to his practice, he was throwing the discus just an absurd amount of distance, and his coach was out there with the tape measure and literally measuring it out. And he's like, hey, man, he's like, that was 145 feet. That was 150 feet or whatever it was. Like, he was literally breaking the state record every other throw of the discus in the preseason. I'm like, and I hyped this kid up, gassed him up big time, like maybe future Olympian. And then the one year I was in Montana, he didn't even win state. Like, he finished third. He kept foot faulting and stuff, and I don't know what happened, but it was terrible. Like, I was hyping him up, and I'm like, this is the week. It's state championship time. Here comes, and I forgot his name, Brandon something. He went to the University of Montana, though, on a scholarship for throwing the discus, so it was a happy ending, I guess. But
well, there you go, Brandon. Good job.
Otherwise, recruiting-wise, these names are old hat to you folks, but the NCAA gave the green light, so immediate eligibility extended to the pair from Mississippi State, Jarian Jones, defensive back, and defensive tackle Fabian Lovett. Both those guys, I had Jones on my top 40 preseason, top 40 on Warchant. I don't think I put Fabian down, but two of those guys are going to help bolster the defense. And I know it's a lazy thing, but they're going to provide depth. But yeah, they are, man, and it's important, especially on the interior of that defensive line. So Lovett, Jones, immediate eligibility, good impact for Florida State. Yes, Corey?
Yeah, I mean, there are other they're high college football players. You need a high-level college football players. You need as many as possible when you're trying to get back to where you want to be. And I don't think it was a surprise, right? Neither one of us were stunned that they got ruled eligible. I mean, everybody gets ruled eligible by the NCAA anyway, it seems like, on these transfers. But with the semi-controversy that was Mike Leach's Twitter page back whenever that was, a few months ago. Was that before the quarantine?
It was during the pandemic because the whole thing was a wife lost her. The whole meme.
Oh,
was
that's right.
The wife was getting sick of being around her husband all the time and blah blah blah.
So there you go. So that's why they are. I assume that's why they're eligible. But they're here. They're here.
Well, I don't know. I mean, what did Clay Helton do? That allowed JT Daniels from the state of California to transfer all the way to Georgia and get instantly eligible. So it
feels like it's just I mean, you're really more stunned. You're surprised when they don't get granted immediate eligibility.
And I don't know. I mean, Ira and Gene did a quick breakdown that I'm sure most people already watched by the time they listen to this. If not, go ahead and watch it. But it was Ira's like, it really hasn't caught us that much by surprise. We were expecting this, but when you're a Florida State fan, you're always a little bit leery of these situations. I mean, I don't know, like, other than, I guess, the Jordan Travis saga, if you want to call it that, like, have there been other transfers that have just, like, have we always gotten the short end of the stick on these things? I just can't remember. Like, nothing kind of pops up to the front of my head where I'm like, oh, yeah, man, Indianapolis, always hosing the Knowles.
What's Diego Romero?
Ah.
Remember him, the basketball player? That went on forever until Dave Hart finally had to, like, just go off on a rant one day. Derwin Kitchen took a while. Now, these are basketball players. I'm not trying to – I can't recall off the top of my head a lot of football transfers that sat out in recent years. But I got you a couple basketball guys. There you go.
Good. That's all
you needed.
Especially, like, if you would have done another, like a third would have just been like, Aslan, you're not allowed to talk the rest of the show. Like, that's – you're like, oh, this happens all the time. Then someone's like, well, give me an example. And they say, like, one person. It's like, come on. They say two. Right. You're like, okay, that's a good point. But if you can come and actually, like, lay out three – it's like the principle of threes. It's like, oh, okay, all right, you're right. I'm going to stop talking now.
Right,
quick little side note. Diego Romero has a brother, he's got a younger brother named Sergio Romero, who's called Chiquito because he's short, he's small, but he's like 6'4". He's actually the backup keeper for Manchester United.
That's right. He's like a world-class goalkeeper, obviously.
Yeah. I read something on ESPN.com about David De Gea, who's falling out of favor in Manchester United. They're starting keeper from Spain. They spent all this money, and they're like, yeah, maybe Sergio Romero will end up being his replacement. I Wikipedia Sergio Romero and then see his nickname is so because he's shorter than his brother Diego. And I'm like, wait, Romero, Diego? He's shorter than a guy named Diego? Could it be? Boom. It was. Look at that. All roads
you did it, man.
lead back to Tallahassee or Manchester, England, depending on how you look at it. So that is all that. All right, man, let's get on the ponies. Corey, you ready? Let's do a little Renegade Express.
He signed a contract. His last contract was for 3 years and £10.1 million, I guess.
Okay.
Looks like he's made a lot of money in his career, old Sergio. So good for him. Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do it.
All right, giddy up. L.A. Knowles recently saw where New York governor has barred Syracuse from having fans in attendance, but I plan to make the trip to Syracuse. Can I carry your equipment and get a press pass for the game? Have not missed an FSU game since November 1993. Don't want to start this season.
Well, the real question here is what happened in November of 93. Think about, is that true? He didn't leave his real name. He's just L.A. Knowles?
Yeah, he's actually a moderator. Look at that. He's on the payroll.
Yeah, well, then he can respond to this quickly. Next show, we'll be able to talk about it, or respond to the one next week and tell us. But I want to know what happened in November or maybe I don't. That could be a really bad, sad story that he missed a game in November, because that's the team you'd want to go see all their games. So maybe that wasn't a great story on why he missed a game in November of 93. So if it's depressing, don't tell us. But also think about that, man, we have to, and even we don't go to all the games. Right. Imagine for the last 27 years going and seeing every game the football team you cheer for is play, because it's not like Florida State plays them all that close anymore.
Yeah.
You've been to USC once. You've been to Mormon country. You've been to El Paso. You've been up to Syracuse and Boston and Blacksburg and Notre Dame. The Pasadena, New Orleans a bunch of times. That's crazy, man. That's like a 300-game streak.
That's absurd. Yeah, I think was a guy JMG Knowles. I don't know if he's still a mod. He used to be around at Warchant a lot more, I feel like. But I think he had a ridiculous home streak. I think maybe close to 200. That's possible.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Still
it could be. That's 30 years, 25, 30 years. But no, we're not going to I don't know that we'll be in Syracuse. Right. So we can't right now at this early date say, yeah, we'll let you in on a press pass, because we don't know if we'll be using ours or if we'll even be allowed to go.
Yeah. I think Andrew Adelson tweeted out something about the regional pod play sort of plan hasn't really gained any traction in the ACC. So, if we were hoping to maybe dodge playing Syracuse, doesn't sound like, the pod thing is emerging as plan A.
And the ACC hasn't come out with their plan yet. I know the Pac-12, I don't think it's official yet, but theirs leaked about 10-game only schedule starting in the middle of September, so practice starts 2 weeks late. Everything starts 2 weeks late. You just can't do this where you only test once a week. Please figure that out. Powers that be, ACC, Florida State. I know that's money, but you can't test kids on a Wednesday and then just play a game on Saturday. You can't. You got to test Friday, and then you got to test Wednesday, or Saturday before the game and Wednesday. Whatever you have to do to get rapid testing done, get it done. So otherwise, I'm scared they're going to start it and shut it down. So hopefully they can figure that out.
Well, I think didn't Clemson announce that they're not going to have students on campus until like September 27th, but that's not going to affect their plans for intercollegiate athletics. And, maybe just one of those things where, like, you can go party Saturday through, like, Monday, but then, like, you got to quarantine yourself Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then, up into the game.
I don't think that necessarily works either. I'm telling you, man, I think there's a chance. Like I texted you.
Don't say it.
Telling you.
It's ridiculous. I'm going to have to edit this out. Don't say it. It's ridiculous.
You're not editing anything out. There's a chance that the only way college football gets played is if it's online classes. That's the way it's got to be.
So we're gonna inconvenience millions of students so that we can play a football season.
No, I think it's because I don't think the college football season happens. I'm really, really worried about a college football season happening with a wide open campus of 35,000 students. Like schools, Gwinnett County is the 11th largest school district in the country.
Let's go.
It has a lot more people than Florida State. It has a lot more students than the ACC. They're not letting their kids go back to school. And I just don't – I think that's what's going to end up happening is these colleges are going to feel pressure because of all the lower level schools that they're gonna feel real pressure not to open back up schools. But you can still play football and you can still go to class virtually. I just think that has to be something you at least look at. I hope it doesn't happen. I hope Gwinnett County I hope Brady gets to go to school this year at some point. But, most of these schools, most of California, I'm sure, is going to be online only. Like California, the university just said they're going to, I think they did it for the year, right?
Well, the GHSA or whatever, like the governing body of Georgia high school sports, they're going, Alabama, Mississippi, Florida, I think, or actually Florida's kind of still in flux, but they're like, yeah, we're starting on time our sports. But I guess maybe that's to your point, that like even though they're not going to let kids actually come to campus, 14-year-old kids can't come to school, but they're going to let 16-year-old kids play football.
I mean, that's what. So we'll see. Again, we're still in July. We'll see how it all shakes out.
I love this. I can't wait till we get down to like, hey man, it's August 13th and it's only 4:55 p.m. man. So
we still got time.
We still got time.
So we'll see how it all shakes out. But it seems to be trending in that direction. And I don't think my point is, if you have to go online only for colleges, which of course they do not want to do because the enrollment is going to plummet. Because why would you pay all that money to sit in front of a computer? I get all that. But if you go to online classes in colleges, it's not out of the realm of possibility that you can still play football. Because you know what? We all know the score. We know these college football players are different students. They are. And now you just now it's just exposed for everyone to see. But we've known that anyway. It's been exposed for 3 decades. They're different. And college football makes a lot of money for the university. We understand it. Blah, blah, blah. I don't want to talk about it anymore. I'm done. I'm just saying that can be a possibility. Not a probability and hopefully not a reality.
I'm not done. I want to keep talking about it. Yeah, we got
no, let's go. Let's go. Yeah, come on.
I know you don't like talking about this, but I think people actually don't mind listening to us talk about it. But like in terms of like the media coverage of it, I mean, in terms of like whether or not we would even be able to go to Syracuse as media, like I'm wondering how that's all going to work out because that Vanity Fair story that I texted you and Ira about, like they've got 2 different layers of coverage in the bubble in Orlando for the NBA. Like there's like an intimate, I don't know, I shouldn't say intimately. I don't know, there's like the tier 1, what have you, like ESPN, TNT, like New York Times, USA Today, Washington Post, and then there's like a second level of folks that have been credentialed to these events that are staying off campus, which is crazy to me. It's like I thought this whole thing is a bubble. Like you're going to have people that you're going to allow to come cover the game, but they're not in the bubble, but they're going to sit in the stands like all the way like in the rafters or whatever. Like,
okay.
So
right.
I mean, I guess that could work out. But I really am kind of curious to see because the cynical part of me is I'm very, very scared that they're going to try to phase. I shouldn't say phase. They're going to try to elbow out media to a large degree. I just hope that they're not going to be like, all right, 1 person per entity, that's all you get. Like,
yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think that's like a priority Z on their list right now, or at least lower in the alphabet. Maybe not Z.
But we should be ahead of whether they're going to have 50 or 70% fans in the stands. I'm sorry, man. I mean, I know fans pay the bills and stuff, but like,
well, yeah, stop right there. The fans pay the bills. We're not. We're not.
Well, then the TV contract.
I'm talking about you and I. I'm talking about you and I specifically. I'm not talking about media as an entity. Like I'm not, obviously ESPN is more important than fans. I'm talking about you and I. Like they're not thinking about where we're going to sit right now.
I'm not.
I think they're just hoping to have games. So, but yeah, I'm perfectly fine sitting up in the rafters where that dude was reading the book for the Clemson game.
Yeah.
People get in. Plus, when they go to commercial, they're going to show us occasionally. They can't. What else are they going to show? There's no fans to focus in on. There's no old dude dancing. So they're gonna show us, and I could be sitting there. You can see me with my laptop, I guess I shaved my beard, by the way.
What? Trimmed it?
Yeah, I went back to the goatee.
Oh, just
to the straight goatee. Well. So you get to see me in my hat because I got to protect this bald head. And yeah, so people get to see me, and it'll be. But I don't think that's what they're thinking about necessarily. But I do think that we know for sure, right, Aslan, that we are at a place now where the guy in charge really does care about the media. So that's at least encouraging. That he will want us there as much as we can be there. And he's not going to fight like Braveheart for us, but he would fight for us to at least have some sort of presence at these games if at all possible. Now, road trips might be a different story, man. I don't know that we want to fly to Syracuse. I don't know that we want to go to Syracuse, period. We could do a Zoom call after the game. But I do think that stuff to Norvell matters. Like, you know what I mean? Like you've
been always talking about how important it is for the media to, the media is the conduit to the fans. We let fans know who the players are and vice versa. And then we're going to get cut out of this and it's not a big deal. Listen, I'm going to say this. And if Ira's listening, Ira, mute it and you're going to get upset. I'll fall on the sword. If for home games, if they're only going to let 2 or 3 of us go, I'll watch the game from home. I'll come cover the post game, but I don't have to be there. Quarters 1 through 4. I can film the pregame stuff and then I can leave. I'm not opposed to that. I wouldn't mind watching the games on TV. I like away games that are far away. I like watching Florida State on television. It's a lot better, I think, than the press box. That's just me. Sorry, Ira. Said it. I said it though.
Yeah. So, I do. No, I think we're important. I think our jobs are important, and I think Norvell thinks our job. Well, I mean, important in this sense, not important in the grand scheme of the world. Right. But I do think Norvell knows our importance, and the media is important. So he'll make sure whatever access they're allowed to have, that we'll get the best access of anybody else in the state. Whatever's mandated by the ACC. Which I think it'll be I don't think it's going to be maybe it will be a school-by-school thing, but I think it'll be mandated by the conference. We'll get the best access of anyone because this dude does care. He really does. Now, after games, we'll see what kind of setup we have. If they're on the road, like I said, it could be a Zoom call with 6 different media entities or 9 or whatever it is. But hopefully we'll be there. It's some of them, maybe not Syracuse. Nobody needs to go to Syracuse, except for our man L.A. Noel.
I just want to do some demo, man. I just want to take some sledgehammers to those windows and the press box, make it open air.
There you go. We could do that. We could be doing that tomorrow.
Yeah. All right. Bowden Dynasty. Wake up! We are playing football this season, but in week 3, our fearless leader, Mike Norvell, tests positive for COVID-19. Who takes over control while he's out? Would he, I assume Norvell, be allowed to have a headset in a quarantine booth? Good question.
That's a great question.
It's being asked. I really do. I would say Chris Thompson, since I think he's literally his title pretty much is vice president. He's
not the former running back Chris Thompson.
Not Madison County great. Yeah, not Greenville's
own.
No. Chris Thompson from TCU, tight ends coach. I mean, he's got the title deputy head coach, so that seems kind of like the natural progression to probably put him in that sort of charge. And, yeah, absolutely. I would think, yeah, man, if he was sick, absolutely. Visiting radio booth, beat it. This is where our head coach, make him like Hugh Freeze. Put him in a hospital bed in the radio booth, and he can be signaling everything he wants down there. That's legitimately a really good question. And I would assume, I really hope that I don't want to say assume. That is something they should be talking about, and absolutely they should be able to make arrangements to where a coach, especially the head coach, even if he's positive, is still allowed to be part of the actual game.
If obviously he's up to it. Not if he's feeling the effects, not if he's one of the ones that gets 104 fever. Yeah. But if he's mostly asymptomatic or they're quote-unquote mild symptoms and he can drive himself to the stadium and get in an elevator by himself in his bubble. I mean, obviously he's wearing a hazmat suit.
Yep.
And then he gets into like you said, he goes into the visitor radio booth, kick them out, and he's just in a hazmat suit watching the game and signal. He can wear a headset inside a hazmat suit.
Absolutely.
So, yeah, that's a good question. I'm sure they'll have rules in place that maybe people with COVID aren't allowed in the building, but you can skirt some rules, or there can be some exceptions as long as he doesn't come into any contact with anyone.
Corey, I got it.
Okay.
You know how they have the injury tent now?
Now you're talking.
Yeah. Keep them outside. You
have a
don't
COVID tent.
Yeah, have like a COVID tent. Absolutely, man. Have a
so
COVID tent.
He's on the sideline, so unzipped so he can still watch the game?
No, it'll be like clear. There'll be like a clear vinyl panel on one side of it, so he can look out. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's not a bad look. Man, what a year this is going to be.
Jolin Cones, wake up! What happened to Cornell Jones and A.J. Linton? Did we ever find out the reasons why they left or why they were dismissed? Thank you for continuing to do these podcasts each week. I think these podcasts are more important to people than y'all know. Keep up the great work, fellas. Well, thank you.
That's very nice.
Yeah.
Thank you very much for that.
I don't know what happened with Cornell Jones. There's a story about A.J. Linton. But yeah, I don't know what happened with Cornell Jones. He was from Purdue, originally I think from Miami Central High School, went to Purdue for a few years, linebacker, went through the few practices they had before things ended. But yeah, I don't know what happened with him. But the A.J. Linton thing, apparently there was a clashing of heads during, I think, one of those tour of duty days. Not the one where you guys were out there.
Right. Yeah, so that's probably that. Maybe just didn't see eye to eye, wasn't a great fit, something like that.
Well, I think literally like that, it was pretty much like beat it. All right, so, I mean, like there was like something happened in an actual workout to where like he was told to like get out. And then I think from there it evolved to like, all right, yeah, you can leave the entire program now. Because I'm sure like cooler heads kind of happened. It was one of those things where like you can go probably apologize and be like, hey, I'm sorry, coach. I lost my cool, blah, blah, blah. But it's one of those things where it's like, all right, I'm just going to pack up and leave anyways. So that's that. But yeah, with Cornell Jones, I don't know. But if we got E. Ricer, Amari Gainer's gaining weight up to 230-ish. Jaleel McCray, Leonard Warren III, which actually I spied Leonard Warren.
So now we're going to can we call him Amari the weight gainer?
Ooh.
Just call him the weight? Man, I'm on top of it today, buddy. I got 2 good nicknames.
This is unreal, man. You need to stop the show now, man. It's like you're don't want to ruin your perfect ERA. It's opening day. Can you believe it, Corey? As we record this, Major League Baseball's happening.
That's right. We're watching. They're getting ready to show the. Does each team have 60 guys on it?
No.
Because all the Nationals and Yankees are lined up down the lines, and that looked like 60 dudes lined up down the. Maybe it's 30, and I just can't count real well.
Maybe it's like is it everybody? Maybe it's like even the trainers and the coaches and like.
Well, they're in uniform though.
Oh, okay.
So and they're all the way down. I know they have to stand some feet apart, but they're all the way down to like they're 200 feet from home plate. So they can't. It wouldn't make no sense to cram them all in the dugout. Right. So I haven't read up on what they're going to do, but am I about to see a bunch of Nationals sitting in like section 103?
Yeah, I don't know. I think who's Don Mattingly, the skipper of? Is he with the Marlins still?
The Marlins, yeah.
Yeah, apparently they had like a rain issue, and then just out of habit, they all ran into the dugout. And he was like, no. He was like, no.
Nope, go to the concourse.
Yeah. But yeah, back to linebackers. Actually, I saw Leonard Warren III out at an establishment, but he was outside the establishment enjoying his acai bowl. So he realizes the stakes at hand. Stayed outside.
Well, that's good to hear that he was outside. Yeah, that's good. That's good to know.
So
good job, Leonard.
He knows what time it is. How about Big Steve O22? What is up, fellas? He opens with. I've been seeing a lot of reports that the Chick-fil-A Bowl team is still moving towards hosting the opening games and have issued plans for different capacities, though the major decisions about the season have not been determined. When do you think the coaching staff begins to worry that the delayed decisions will impact their game prep when actually not 100% knowing who their first opponent will be? I know that most of the fall camp will be focused on system install due to the lost spring, but typically coaches will at least begin preparing for the first game, even when they say they don't. Yeah, that's a really good point. Like for all this, let's just be patient. Let's all relax. We got time. I would imagine most of these coaches want to be like, I want to know who the freaking heck I'm playing in 45 days. But apparently it's not a big deal to them.
Well, it's not that, man. They just this is unforeseen circumstances, and everybody's having to adjust on the fly. And the reality is, you might get into the middle of the season, and then an opponent be taken away, or your team might be. You know what I mean? Like there might be adjustments in the middle of the season. So I don't think there's going to be a lot of pre-scouting. Like I'm sure they've done some homework on West Virginia or Boise, but I hope they're not spending a ton of time on it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I would say the odds of playing at Boise are 33%.
Ooh, that's big. I would have gone like.
I think I'm being generous there. Yeah. So I don't know that you spend a ton of time on like the Boise's of the world, the West Virginias of the world. It would be nice, and we're going to get it soon enough. Probably in the next week or so, I think the ACC will unveil whatever their plan is, and they will know then. Like, okay, for now you're planning for West Virginia, or now you're planning for NC State, and they'll go from there. But yeah, that's I mean, every team is having to go through it though, so that's at least should make you rest a little easier. By the way, did you see Fauci's first pitch?
My buddy just texted me, man, Fauci can't throw.
Oh boy, it was gross.
Oh, was it?
I mean, it was like 50 Cent bad or Baba Booey bad.
He hasn't slept in a while. You know.
Probably. It went straight left. It landed, I would say it was like a 48-footer that landed probably legitimately 15 feet to the left of the plate. So that wasn't great.
Gosh.
That wasn't great. I thought he was an athlete. I mean, I know he's an older gentleman now, but I thought he played basketball in high school or college or something. But yeah, did not throw the ball well at all.
I wonder if there's going to be a tweet about that. Yeah, I guess maybe a lot of it too. This whole 2-week delay thing that also probably opens the window for. I mean, think about it. I mean, you pretty much give yourself like a 2-week window to prepare for whoever your opening opponent's going to be, even if they're going to take it that far down the line. But that's a good point though too, Corey. I think you're right. I mean, they. If it's kind of like, I don't know, you play the first playoff game, or I don't know, even before the playoff games happen. If you're Alabama and you're playing Clemson, and then in the other one it's Oklahoma and LSU, you probably have maybe a few more of your Polo Mafia guys already breaking down the LSU film because they look to be the more likely opponent. So I would think they're probably definitely dialing in on ACC opponents and looking at that film more so than Boise. But although you still got to probably play West Virginia a little bit honestly. At least you have to still approach it.
Yeah, I think so. I think so for now. And again, I think they've probably done their due diligence for the last 4 or 5 months. I don't think they've just been not watching West Virginia film. I just don't know if they've really ramped it up to the point like we're game planning. But I don't know Norvell's. Some coaches don't really even do that till a week and a half out anyway for the opener. They're always just working on themselves. So, who knows?
Hey,
good question though.
I probably should save this for like Monday when we don't have anything to talk about. Yeah, maybe I'll write that. I'm going to write that down. Keep it in my head.
What are you writing it down on?
On my desk. My desk is a glass top, like whiteboard. So I have a dry erase marker that I write all my little notes down, and I put all the time code so that I know hey, 39-minute mark, we talk about the likelihood of they're not playing West Virginia, or if they are playing West Virginia. Man, talk about, bad breaks. I mean, like West Virginia's defensive coordinator got dismissed. Like, golly, this team, I think, this coaching staff probably.
Hey, did you read that? What was the reasoning? That's an odd time to fire a coordinator.
I think it was a previous player, made accusations about the way he made some comments that were racially insensitive.
Oh, so like the Utah guy?
Yeah.
Oh, all right. Jeez Louise, guys. Get it together, coaches. Especially defensive coaches.
Yeah. Man.
Get it together.
Big Sevo 22 also wondered, with the start of MLB and the NBA, what are our predictions for those seasons?
I mean, I don't know. I'm about to watch this very first game that matters. I can't even harbor a guess. They're apparently half the season, half the teams.
You've said that before. Hazard.
Harbor. Yeah, I don't know why I say harbor a guess. Hazard a guess. Yeah. You can harbor a guess. You can harbor anything.
That's true.
My perfect game's still intact. Don't let that.
Sorry, you're right.
Negate the great nicknames I came up with.
I think this whole sprint. Like, do you buy into this whole thing that since it's going to be a sprint, it's like wide open. It's it's anyone's taking. Like, I almost feel like it's less likely that something crazy like the Reds and the Royals end up in the World Series.
Maybe not in the World Series, but heck, man, it looks like they're still talking about having like a 14-team playoff, which is essentially half the teams. If they do that, then yeah, man. If a not great team, if you just go 31-29, you might get in. And if you just play 500 ball, you're going to have a chance. And some of these bad teams, even bad teams, go. Remember, you might have been a kid. I don't remember how long ago this was, when it was still the Devil Rays, and they were awful.
Yeah.
But they went on like a 16-game winning streak or something.
Yeah.
So, some crazy winning streak just to get almost to 500. So that can happen even with bad teams where they just catch magic for a couple weeks. And if you do that in a shortened season, that might be enough to get you to the playoffs. It's going to be odd, though. Like, again, every game counts as a series almost.
Right.
So if you lose one game, it's like losing 3 in a row. It's really bizarre. So I couldn't even hazard or harbor a guess on either. I would think the Lakers and the Bucks are still going to be really good in the NBA.
Yeah.
And the Clippers. So I think it'll be one of those 3 teams that wins it.
I'll say
Hawks.
Yanks and Dodgers, although that's probably like the sum of all fears. I bet like Manfred's probably like really rooting for like a Subway Series Part 2. Like, just keep everybody close.
I have an idea that this might be the Braves' year.
Let's go.
Because they'll finally win something again when nobody can go to the games. You can't have a parade. It barely counts. There's this huge asterisk by the whole season. That'll be when the Braves decide to actually play well in October.
Yeah. All right. Moving on. I was gonna be like, yeah. I mean, this like college football season. It's like if the Gators are ever going to win another national title in my lifetime, just let it be this year because it won't.
Where
count,
it doesn't
really.
count. Yeah. I mean, it counts, but it doesn't. They're still going to hang a banner.
I don't even want it. I don't want to even imagine a world where they get to 4 before we do. I just hate you guys so much. I know some of you listen to the
it's
show.
Genuine.
Just know it's real. It's intense.
Yeah.
Burns like 5 suns. AES 117. They've been around since September 15th, 2018. This is only their 4th ever post.
Okay.
I feel like they've only posted 4 times, and they've all been on the ponies.
It's a post every 6 months.
This is when they want to express themselves.
Okay.
Wake up, fellas. Hard to believe. We're almost through July. Big congrats to Brady on the baseball championship.
Oh, thanks.
With the summer winding down, I'm curious, what do the Corey Clark and Aslan Hajavandi's ideal and in a non-COVID world off-season vacation look like? Say you had a week of vacation to use, a little extra money. Where are you going, and who are you going with? Did you have anything planned with the better half, with the first lady of Wake Up Warchant? Are you and Steph going to do anything fun before COVID came through?
The only thing we had planned was just a quick trip to Nashville for a Pearl Jam.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was the weekend. That was the Thursday night of the final. Like the Final Four was that weekend. So
Wasn't
it was just
this
going
like
to be
a long drawn out Christmas gift or like a long deferred birthday gift for her?
It was I think it was a birthday gift. And my hope all along was that I could get tickets to them playing in Wrigley Field.
Yes.
And we make a trip out of it to Chicago. I thought that would have been awesome. But I could not tell her because I didn't want to ruin the surprise. So I kept putting it off and say, look, you'll know. I promise it's something that's in the works. It's going to be good. You're going to like it. And she got more and more upset with me, thinking that I'd just forgotten it and came up with this stupid, this stupid excuse. It's happening right around the corner. But I knew Pearl Jam was going to release a summer, a world tour. But they hadn't released it yet. I even joined the Pearl Jam fan club just so I could get access to the tickets, and thinking that's the only way I could get Wrigley Field tickets. And then they weren't even going to have a Wrigley Field show. But Nashville was cool. It was a Thursday night. It was the Thursday night before the Final Four, so it wouldn't interfere if Florida State had made it, and I could get down to Atlanta the next day. So had it all planned out. Had used my buddy's points, his Marriott points, to book a really nice hotel in downtown Nashville for a couple nights, and then COVID happened. So that was my only plan. We probably would have made a trip after probably this week. We would have done something after Charlotte.
Yeah.
After the ACC kickoff, we would have maybe gone somewhere with Brady like we did last year. We went to Cleveland. We'd have done something maybe a little cooler. But that was, we got to see Stephanie's old stomping grounds. Yeah. I haven't done it in a while, but I want to go and rent a beach house. But my thing is I want to rent it with like 2 or 3 other families. So get a big one right on the beach, about 12, sleeps 12 or 14. The kids are all there. The parents are there. The kids go to bed or watch their video games. We're out on the deck, doing what adults do, looking at the stars, obviously. I want to do that again. But
so idyllic.
I didn't feel real comfortable, renting a house with like 2 other families right now necessarily and being under the same roof. Plus, I don't know. Maybe it is the best time to go vacation. It just didn't seem like a real vacation-y type. And plus, he had all the travel ball stuff. Like travel ball just ended, so and now football's about to start. Aslan, don't have time.
Don't have time. Yeah, I was talking to somebody about this because again, I have been able to exist in this sort of surreal reality that we're in right now without little adjustment to my day-to-day activities and just my general sort of sensibilities. It hasn't affected me negatively. Thankfully, my job's still going on. My family's all still employed. They're all healthy, so it really hasn't thrown me for too big of a loop. But then I was like, because everybody else is losing their mind. Like, everyone's like, man, I can't. I got to get out of the house. I want to go do this. I miss going out and eating in restaurants. Blah blah blah. I'm like, I'll be talking to girls on these dating apps. I'm like, yeah, I'm in no rush to take you out to a restaurant. So if you want that, you're not going to get it here.
What are you in a rush to do?
Ask Mike Norvell awkward questions.
I gotcha. I was talking more about on the dating side.
Oh.
If you're not in a rush to take them to restaurants.
Oh yeah. But my sort of cop out, because again, like the Ryan Russillo podcast, him and SVP were talking about, like, listen, like if this hasn't affected your life, you need to reassess your life. Pretty much saying like you're boring or you have no friends, which I'm like, I felt personally attacked.
Right.
I'm just like, I just don't live close to all my friends. If I did, I'd be still probably going out and doing stuff. But anyhow, long rambling sort of thingamajig there. I started off 2020 pretty strong. Like 19, I went home for Christmas. Then I went to El Paso with Ira. I mean, we got absolutely hammered every single night in El Paso.
Yep.
Then January was my brother's 40th birthday in New Orleans. That was sloppy. 2 weeks
then
after
he went
that,
overseas.
2 weeks after that, I'm in Bali for a week and a half, which was amazing. Then I come back, and then one of my good friends gets married back home in St. Petersburg, and that was a fiasco of good proportions. So I was good. Like I was ready to ride out 2020. Like I had enough social stuff on my calendar that would have been good with it. But if I would have got restless, I mean, I probably would have maybe gone up to New York City again. Because, the whole thing, like, I was trying to do a twofer almost with Bali, where I flew out of New York City because I was going to hang out with my buddy for a night up there. So I probably would have gone up there and hung out with Manhattan Mike and our friend Hedge Fund Brian. Got some good pizza. Probably had Dallin Cuff, got him out of the house in Connecticut, had him come out to the city. Because, I already went to New Orleans, so, like, New York City is, like, my second favorite city. So I would have probably done that. But, yeah.
Alas, it didn't happen.
It did not happen. So I don't know. I might try to go home for my birthday, but my birthday falls on a Wednesday this year. So, and it's like, what am I going to do? Like, I don't want to go out to a bar. Are bars even open right now?
I mean, it depends on what city you're in, buddy.
Yeah. I was like, maybe I'll go home and then I'll try to get everybody out for like a golf outing, but it's on a Wednesday, so I don't know. I'll just make up for it next year.
When's your birthday?
August 19th. August 19th.
All right. Okay. You already know what day it's on. You already looked ahead.
Yeah, which I usually don't. But I was talking to a young lady who was asking me about it, and I was like, yeah.
Okay.
The 19th. That's going all right, though. I did speak to a girl. She's a teacher. Not the income bracket I need to fulfill my life.
Sure.
But a good human being, which matters.
Yeah. That does matter. That does matter. Teachers are great.
AES 117 also asked, when does media availability for practice start, or is that on hold to promote hygiene and social distancing? Keep up the great work. Really appreciate all that you guys do, and go Noles. August 7th, man. Again, the stuff that they're doing now is stuff that we are not historically allowed to watch. So it's not we're being frozen out right now. It's just these are things that normally we don't observe. But I think August 7th is when teams that are going to be playing in week 1 will start their preseason camp. We do brace, I think, do expect, do hope that we would be able to go and cover the team on that day. And what seems to kind of be the MO for the sports information person who's been here now with the last 3 years. Did 17, did you guys have a preseason presser with Jimbo? Because I know in 18, like before Willie's first day of spring, we had a press conference. And then I think before the first day of fall camp, there was like a press conference before. So I think
I don't remember.
Yeah, I think that's what Ira's expecting. Like August 6th, probably a press conference, and then August 7th will be the first day of camp, and then hopefully we'll be out there. And I'll have my mask on. And I know it's outside. I'll be, keeping my 6 feet, but I'll keep my 6 feet anyways because I war with everybody on the beat. They don't like me. I don't like them. That's the way I like it.
Mm-hmm. Right. Absolutely.
So, are you ready to get back out there? You're going to have the notepad out. You're getting into a really good groove, Corey. I was really proud of you, man. You were like a gumshoe detective out there with your notepad and your insights, and you're starting to develop really good habits. And then it just all carpet got pulled out.
Yeah, man. If we're allowed out there, absolutely, I want to be out there, man. I'm starved for football.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I know it's not like we missed it. You know what I mean? Like, we missed some spring practices, but I'm starved to watch live competition again. That isn't 11 or 12-year-old baseball.
Yeah.
So I'll definitely be out there if we're allowed, man. I'll be writing down in that thing feverishly.
I was watching old videos from like when I was in television, like these montage videos I would make of like high school football teams, and like I got really nostalgic because I'm just really nostalgic by nature. But I think Leon County is suspended indefinitely practices and stuff. But I'm like, dude, like I literally will go drive to Godby High School right now and watch practice. I never played football. One of the great sorrows of my life, but probably worked out for the best because I probably would have got hurt really bad because I was like 130 pounds in high school and I had the mouth that I have now. But like I really enjoy being around a football team, and there's just something different about covering football than anything else. I mean, I think they all are unique and they're enjoyable in their own way. I'm sure like you probably had a real fun time covering Florida State's run to the World Series last year and being in Athens and going to Baton Rouge and being in Omaha, and you're around these guys. And it's the summer. It's a whole different sort of vibe. Basketball, it's a smaller team. It's a smaller unit. It's much more intimate. But there's just something to me about being around a football program, like working a beat, like a legitimate football team, like Florida State's caliber, being around it. It's really cool, man. I miss it. Maybe because I don't have any friends anymore around here. Not that anybody on the football team is my friend, but it's just like being around other people being friendly to each other, like makes me feel good and whole. I miss it.
Oh, that's good. I hope we get it back for you, man. I really do.
I do. All right, man. We're done. If you're listening to this on a Friday, we'll be back at 5 p.m. for a live happy hour on YouTube. So do tune in to that, and then we'll do a show on Sunday, and I'll bust out that question that I wrote down that I'm going to save because it'll probably give us like 6 minutes to talk about something, because who knows what there will be to talk about on Sunday evening. I titled this Renegade Express, Corey. Every week I give it some sort of name. It's like March Madness week or, first week of workouts week. I titled this one Renegade Express Last Week of Stalling. Like, do we think we're going to get some clarity? I don't know, clarity. Are we going to get some direction, you think, by the time we do this 7 days from now when we're doing Renegade Express late next week?
Yeah, it'll be July 30th. I do. I'm going to go ahead and call that and say we're going to know what the ACC's plan is by this time next week.
Okay.
It's going to be a great show. Well, this was a great show too. They're all great, really. Yeah. They're certainly what you pay. They're better than what you get what you pay for. Yeah. I thought this was a great show. I think next week we'll have great shows. I think Aslan's a great person. I think you guys are great listeners.
Are we going to play tennis this weekend? Golf, weather permitting?
Weather permitting, buddy. We're out there, absolutely. Stephanie she goes to the driving range literally every day and hits 4 bags of balls every day.
She was out there Thursday. It's been raining nonstop. She was out there.
Yeah.
Just grinding, man.
I know. That's what she does, man. It's insane. But God love her. And you talk about missing sports, like that's how we got into this in the first place is I have the golf course near my house where I would go watch people play the 9th hole of that golf course just because it was the only thing I could watch live. This was 3 months ago. And so I started watching these people, and I'm like, man, I'm as good as these people. I need to take up golf again. Now, I was wrong about that. I'm not. But I forgot just how maddeningly frustrating it is. But Stephanie wanted to do it with me, so we got her lessons. She goes to the driving range every day, and she's crushing it. She hits the tar out of the ball.
Oh, hey, it's a few days old, but why should I go read the 4 things to know about FSU's wide receivers heading into the 2020 preseason?
Because I wrote it, and it's awesome. That's how I sell it. I mean, I don't want to give away too much. I don't want to give away too much to the non-subscriber. But, just kind of going in depth about the numbers, who they have coming back, who they have returning. Not who they have returning, but who they have also returning coming back. Those are the same things. But the new guys and who of those guys can maybe make a difference. I didn't realize the Ja'Kai Douglas, I guess he's a wide receiver?
I think he's more – he was playing – I mean, again, it was 3 practices, but he was a running back in those practices.
But I think – don't you think him and Wren both will be kind of guys that they might do some things with in the passing game? I think they'll try to make that happen. And my first one, the one I'm really interested in seeing is what they do with Tamarian. Like, again – as good as he's been the last 2 years, he is legitimately, I feel like, lined up on the right side of the formation by the sideline for 25 straight games.
Yeah.
Imagine putting him in motion. Imagine him in the slot. Imagine trying to get him one-on-one with a safety or one-on-one with somebody that's a nickel back that's just overmatched in the middle of the field. I mean, that stuff can happen too. So I'm just really interested because they had a guy last year that had like 1,300 yards receiving, and he wasn't even their dude that was the NFL draft pick. Their NFL draft pick is the guy that also had like 36 catches for 700 yards and had 30 rushes for 350 yards. So they just find ways to get their really good players the ball. So I'm interested to see how they do that with Tamarian.
See, I know
That's it.
We're wrapping it up, but I was almost going to go into this whole step
No.
binder about
Let's wrap it up. Let's wrap it up.
All right, I'll
We
write
did
that
it.
down. I'll write that down. We'll talk about it on Monday as well. Have a great weekend, everybody. Thanks for listening to Wake Up Warchant, proudly presented by Zaxby's Indescribably Good.
Warchant.com is the ultimate inside source for FSU football and recruiting. And now you can get in on the action for free for an entire month. Warchant.com is offering a risk-free 30-day trial subscription. Get full access to the #1 website covering the Seminoles just by entering the promo code WARCHANT30. That's WARCHANT30. Sign up and get in on the world's most active FSU message boards. Receive breaking news, stories from our award-winning staff, plus get exclusive interviews and videos. Just enter the promo code WARCHANT30. Warchant.com, your ultimate Seminole sports source.